Hey, what it do, everybody? It's Patrick Garcia here, Legendary Lifestyles, and I'm gonna be wiping my eyes and sniffling because I'm going through allergies right now. It's allergy season for me, you know, climate change, shift from winter to spring and whatnot. Okay, so it's about 1:30 a.m. I just got out of the Phoenix Hotel, practicing my game. Social interactions with women and stuff like that. So that's going to be the topic for today's video. Whenever you guys watch this, it'll be uploaded shortly. I don't mean to alienate any of my female viewers, but this is going to be a video that's particularly geared towards men, men who are single and bitter and are kind of upset with where they are in their sort of like romantic position in life or something like that. I'm going to be talking about the valuable lessons that I've learned from the game. So I took a workshop with Pickup 101 around the spring of 2010, and I recently went to an event with Real Social Dynamics in San Francisco around the beginning of November at the one of the hotels here. Can't remember off the top, I'm going blank. It's been really late, really tired. There's a lot of misconceptions about the game that people have. So I'm going to talk about one of the first misconceptions is that when you study the game, you know, the black Neil Strauss book with the little strip in it, all right, supposedly you're learning how to manipulate women. So as I've gotten very deep in learning this craft and this skill, because it is a skill, I've come to find out that this is not a science, it is an art. And there is no 7 steps or 8 steps or 12 steps to get the girl back to your house, okay? This is all about being present to the moment. Now, the only manipulation that occurs when you're interacting with women is yourself. If you do not believe that you can actually go out and do this stuff, that means that you don't like yourself very much. Let's say you've been in a relationship for a long time, you've broken up with your girlfriend, and you seem to be okay with girls, but you don't know how to do the cold approach. Now, what is the cold approach? Okay, so in the business world, when you're going into prospects that are strangers and that are not familiar with you, that's called your cold markets. Same thing with telemarketers. If they're on the phone trying to get you to buy something and they're selling you something, that's called cold calling. Now, when you're going up to strangers, I guess if it's men or women, sure, why not? And you're trying to interact with them socially, that's called cold approach. Now, this is something that is learned. This is a skill. This takes time. And I want to talk about the guys who are already good at that, so to speak, a little bit later. But the only manipulation that occurs is starting with liking yourself first, if you do not already. So if you can't look yourself in the mirror, this is from Sasha, by the way, if you can't look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I like that guy, he's fucking awesome, then it's going to be very difficult for you to cold approach, because it all starts with yourself first. Now, as a guy, I used to be very upset when I would talk to my gal pals and my girlfriends about, you know, sort of how to get a girlfriend, okay? And the number one thing that they would tell me is like, you just gotta be confident, Pat. And I always hate when they say that. I hated it, because they used to tell it to me all the time. Well, there's a reason why they're telling you this, is because at the end of the day, it's true. You do have to be confident. So the next thing I want to talk about is a very basic principle when you get very deep in the game. And this is beyond that black Neil Strauss book, okay? So in my journeys in studying real social dynamics, there's there's a lot of elements in the game that have been influenced by Taoism, from Buddhism, East Indian Enlightenment, Dalai Lama or Eckhart Tolle, okay? And that's called removing yourself from the outcome. So when you study the East Indian Enlightenment, in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that you do not have the right to the fruits of your labor, only the labor itself. So to translate and to make it more clear, you only have rights to the interaction and taking action, but you do not have the right to receive what that action brings. Okay, so when we go out, so how this relates to talking to girls on the street or in the bars and the clubs is that you remove yourself from the outcome. Have joy in going out and talking to beautiful women. Okay, a while ago I said that, you know, this thing about, you know, taking girls back to your home. Well, it's not always about that. It's not about that for me, you know, because I want a harem of women in my life. That could be a very deep topic because I do not care about getting married or having children anymore. Now that might change when I'm like 40 years old, but right now it's not a priority for me. So when I think about my relatives or my friends giving me shit about, hey, you know, Pat, you're turning 30 and you should really think about getting married and having kids, it's not a burden to me anymore. Why? Because I've removed myself from that outcome. It no longer bothers me. You think people like wag their finger at George Clooney and say, you know, George, you should stop seeing these women in their 20s and start getting married and, you know, start having kids? No. What goes on in George Clooney's mind is like, I'm awesome and I don't care what anybody thinks. And that's how that relates to going out, okay? Have joy in the interaction. Have joy with just doing the approach and talking to them. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's what they say about success. Success is the sum of small parts that are repeated daily, all the time. So when you go out and you don't get a number and you're not making out with girls and you're not bringing them home, you're building reference experience. You're calibrating yourself. You're sort of learning how to, what's that word I'm looking for? Okay. You're learning how to condition yourself. You're conditioning yourself to go out and be social and to not be afraid by women. So Ross Jeffries, who's kind of like the pioneer of neuro-linguistics programming, or speed seduction, as it's widely known, had a student once who was like in the army. I guess he served in Iraq or Afghanistan. And he said, I would rather jump out of a plane into a war zone, get shot at, have grenades thrown at me, than to go out into the street and talk to a pretty girl. Okay, does this make sense? Does this make any kind of sense whatsoever? I don't know. I don't get it either. But I can understand. Because the reason we go out and we're scared to talk, or why we're scared to talk to girls, is because we want a good reaction. We want positive emotions from them. And if we don't get it, we act like little crybabies. We act like little bitches who are needy and approval seeking. Okay, so when you talk to your gal pals, when you talk to the girls in your social circle, when you talk to your mother or your sister or your cousins, why is it that you never run out of things to say? Well, it's because you're not trying to game them. Why do you not run out of things to say when you're talking to girls you're comfortable with? Or you're talking to girls that are, you know, not super attractive or not like, you know, hideous chuds either, is because you're not intimidated by them. You are not trying to game them, okay? So when you go out and you talk to a wide assortment of girls, it conditions you to not be afraid of them, okay? So just to recap, remove yourself from the outcome. Have low expectations. Don't expect anything. Don't go out expecting to make out and bring them home. Go out and just have fun. Talk to as many girls as you can. Remove yourself from the outcome and do not be needy. Do not seek their approval. You are awesome. You can do this. So the next thing I want to talk about are the naturals. So what are the naturals? Okay, so growing up in your social circle and your group of friends, you probably had, if you're watching this and you're really listening to what I'm saying, you probably had one of those guys in your group, probably a handful of guys in your group that were just good with girls. They were just good with women. And maybe you had crushes in some of the girls in your social circle and your friends got those girls. All right, why does this happen? Because they learned how to talk to girls, how to talk to women by picking up that sort of mentality, that sort of frame of mind very early on. How did this happen? It's because maybe they watched their father. Their father taught the game to them. Maybe their older brother taught the game to them. Maybe their older cousin was really good with women and girls and they just picked it up. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something right now. If you think that you can't do that, and if you can't be like a natural, you can, all right? You can do this. Let me ask you this, or let me tell you this. When you think about a car, right? And you get into a car and just drive it, okay? That's a natural. They're just a natural at driving a car. Now, you know, barring the fact that they know anything about cars, if something happens to the car, where do they go? You need to take it to a mechanic to get it fixed, okay? Now, having game, you can get in your car and drive your car just as a natural, but you are also a mechanic with social interactions, all right? You go out and you do the stuff that makes you a practitioner in this art, a practitioner in the skill. So anything wrong that happens in the interaction, anything fucked up that a girl does to you, you can immediately be conscious about it, diagnose it in your brain, and move on, okay? So when you study and practice game, this shit is like a video game, all right? It's like Jay-Z says, on to the next one. Anything that girls throw at you, you know what they're doing, and you know what they're trying to make you feel, okay? This is what we call a higher level of consciousness. When you study game, you have consciousness. Now, let me tell you what's wrong with the naturals. When I go out to the bars and the clubs, I see guys that are way better looking than me, okay? And they don't do shit sometimes. Sometimes they stand against the wall, you know, sip their drinks, do this, and then when a song comes on that they really like, they're like, yeah, you know, doing all this stuff because they need that positivity. They're relying on the alcohol to give them a positive state and a positive confidence. Now, the thing about those guys is that they probably don't go hard is because they probably have pussy waiting for them at home. All right, they probably got a girlfriend, and they're probably banging your friend. All right, the girls in your social circle, they can do that. But why are they not good at cold approach? Is because they need to feed into their frame of mind that they are the shit. They can't just do it. They can't just turn it on. They need alcohol. And when they're drunk enough, yeah, maybe so. Maybe at that point in time, they can do it. But what happens if a girl does not respond well? That means at that part right there, they act up. Why? Because their ego is not getting what it wants. Their ego wants a positive reaction. Hey, I'm the shit, I'm fucking awesome, and if you do not get it, then you're a fucking bitch, right? And they act like, oh, whatever, you're weak, your girls are weak, fuck you, fuck your girlfriends. And they just act like little crybabies because their ego is not getting what it wants, okay? But not you. You study this shit, you're different. Unless you're approval seeking, which is not good for the game. Up next, do looks matter? Hell to the yes! Is it the #1 priority? Is it the #1 thing that girls care about? Hell to the no! Okay, so what am I talking about here? Part of the process of learning is unlearning certain processes. So if you believe that you're ugly, you have to go out and test it from a third-party perspective, okay? I have a mild skin disorder. I have eczema and atopic dermatitis. So a lot of these outtakes, I'm scratching my back a lot, I'm scratching my face, scratching my eyes, and this is a very bad habit that I'm trying to undo. But you know, out of years of having eczema, my skin can get very dry. I need lots of ointments, topical cream to stop myself from getting itchy. And this cold weather up here in the north is not helping. So hopefully I will move down south where it's a little bit more warm so my skin can get moisturized. But anyway, all right, looks are not the #1 thing that women are concerned about. Okay, so unlearning certain processes. Let's say you're like me, who grew up your entire life thinking you're ugly, okay? I never thought that I would get a girl's phone number. I never thought that I would get hugs from girls. I never thought I could like hug them, spin them around, whatever, until I started going out. So, what social media tells me from watching TV shows when I was a kid, watching my homies, watching the popular guys at my school growing up, was that I was ugly and I was not worth it. Now, I'm unlearning those certain processes. I'm going out and I'm getting reactions from girls who are way more beautiful than me, who are way more stunning than me. Now, you approach 10 girls, right? This is playing the numbers, I know. But you approach 10 girls, right? And 3 of those girls, out of those 10 girls, are like Victoria's Secret, like supermodel hot, okay? And they enjoy talking to you, and they high five with you. They laugh at your jokes, you know, barring that they're not pretending, okay? But it takes a lot of work to pretend with me, because, you know, when I'm going, and a girl could just easily tell you to buzz off if they don't want to waste your time. You know, some girls will do that. So if they're doing all these things, guess what, homie? You ain't ugly, all right? I'm not ugly. Well, if you're a chick and you're watching this and you're judging me, you say I'm ugly, whatever. I don't care, all right? Because I'm not ugly in my mind, okay? And if you're a dude and you think you're ugly, go out. Learn how to do this. Talk to girls, okay? The main priority of feminine energy right now is emotion, all right? It is emotion. So what do I mean by this? So when you make a girl laugh, cry, be angry, all right? They want to experience a wide range of emotions. That's why they watch those stupid fucking Nicholas Sparks movies, you know, Dear John, The Notebook, because they want to feel all that shit, all right? That's why it's not good to talk to your homegirls on advice on how to get girls, because a girl will tell you how to get a girlfriend, and maybe her boyfriend does none of those things, okay? All right? So that's that. Understand that, yes, you can be a nice guy, you know, but don't let people walk all over you. Have game and stick up for yourself. Do your research on male polarity. I don't have time to go into that right now. That can be like a 2-3 hour seminar on male polarity, all right? Be polarizing when you go out. I know this is a long vid. We'll rock and roll on out of here. It's been great. I'm very passionate about these things, but understand that there is no such thing as rejection, only selection, all right? If a girl blows you off, move on. It's all good, okay? That means, you know, she's very selective, you know? And there are those shallow girls who just want money, you know, want an old, decrepit guy who's rich, you know, they're gold diggers, all right? But there are ways to get around that too, all right? I don't have time to go into all that right now, but just understand that there is no such thing as rejection, only selection, all right? The 4 SWs. Some will, some won't, so what? Someone's waiting, all right? You can get completely blown up by the same girl, see her in a bar or a club like a year later, bring her home, and be like, yeah, you blew me off a year ago, bitch. Bow! All right, yeah, I'm a dick. I just want to leave you guys with this. I can easily dig a hole in the ground, jump in it, and masturbate till I die, all right? I can do that. But why do that when I can go out, learn how to deal with rejection, be conscious, be present to the moment, okay? And I condition myself to interact with people and be social, all right? Turn it into a muscle memory, all right? As a reflex. So, yeah, I know this is a lot of information. If you're bitter, if you're angry, watch this video over and over again and visit rsdnation.com. There's a lot of materials out there. Look up RSD Tyler, look up RSD Julian. A lot of people out there, Sasha Daygame, stuff like that, Ross Jeffries. All right, keep your head up, all right? And if you're gonna do this, then do it. Make the commitment to do it. Make the commitment to change. You can do this, all right? So with that said, this is Patrick Garcia from Legendary Lifestyles, and become legendary.